and hear us. All right, fantastic. So I am joined today by the incredible Jennifer Maker. So I really appreciate you joining us today. And my other request, and it looks like people can see and hear us, which is great. My other request is that you type into the chat and let us know where in the world are you joining us from, because we see people in these webinars from all over the world, from 4 or 5 or even 6 different continents. So looking in the chat here, we're seeing people from Joburg, South Africa, Ohio, North Carolina, Newburgh, Indiana, Ontario, Canada. I was seeing Georgia, Saskatchewan, Oregon, Chicago, Washington, Ontario, Switzerland, Dallas, Texas, Michigan, Arizona, the desert, Georgia, Brazil. All right, so it
That's
sounds like
exciting.
we got people here from all over the world, and I'm joining you live from New York City, from the glamorous Teachable office, except this is actually my apartment. And Jennifer, I think we've given enough time for those last minute stragglers to join us. So why don't you introduce yourself and take it away here?
All right. Thank you, Cameron. So my name is Jennifer Maker, and I am a craft blogger who's actually had really, really good success at growing a mailing list. So I don't normally talk about how to do this. I normally talk about crafts and DIY projects, but it turns out I have a superpower at growing mailing lists. So because I love to teach everything, I do this too. And that's why we're here today, to learn about list building. Shall I get started?
All
And I
right,
can
yeah,
share my screen, right?
let's dive right in. Yeah,
Okay,
we're on Zoom,
awesome.
so you can do all the screen sharing you're used to with Zoom.
Excellent.
And if you're like me, you've been on Zoom way too much over the past
Yes.
couple of months.
I am ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen right now. Can you see it?
Yep, looking great.
Okay. And
So
I'm
just the one
going
thing,
to, oh, sorry, go ahead.
when you want yourself to be primary, like when you want folks, like they can see you in the little corner right now, when you want folks to see you as the main person, you'll just have to stop sharing the screen.
Okay.
All
So
right.
excellent. All right. So let me just make sure I've got. Excellent. So welcome everyone to List Building 101. I'm so excited that you're joining me today. So this is called List Building 101 because we're going to start the very basics and talk about how to really build your mailing list, nurture your subscribers, and catapult to success. That's our goal. And I believe that our list, our mailing list, that is one of the most valuable assets we have in our businesses. And I want to share my secrets to building one in today's workshop. Now, this next hour, because it's approximately an hour plus Q&A, it's just for you. And it's really super important to truly focus on today's workshop so you can really learn. So if you don't mind, please silence your phone, close your Facebook tabs, put away your games and texts, even go somewhere quiet if you can, or if not, put on some headphones. That's like really ideal. What I like to do is make the window as big as I can to fill my screen. It's my favorite way of watching workshops because it lets me really focus. And I want you to hear and observe what I have to say today. Now, as I go through the workshop today, I'll try to answer your questions if I see them. My team is actually standing by, so they're going to like pass questions to me so that I can see them, because I'm on Zoom. I'm not actually like in the same place as you, but we're still going to try. But if I don't answer a question or you think of something else, stay until the end of the workshop for our question and answer session so I can be sure to help you.
And Jennifer, just as a heads up, I'll also be jotting down questions from the chat
Excellent. Thank
just
you.
to make sure that we have them. But the folks should assume, like the chat is moving very quickly, so assume that you might have to ask it again at the end just because it's going so fast.
That's really, yes, absolutely. So if you don't get your question asked, just let's hold on to it and we will totally answer at the end. And this session is really about freebies, and I have one for you today. So I have a gift for everyone who's showing up to today's workshop. If you stay to the end, you get one of my plug and play freebie templates and 2 matching promo graphics at the end of the workshop. Now, if you don't know what these are or why they matter so much to building a mailing list, don't worry, by the end of this workshop, you will. I don't normally sell these things, so I'm not like attempting to sell you this. I'm just going to give you these. Things like this are a big part of the reason why I've been able to build my mailing list so well. So I want to give you a set to customize and use for your own purposes, but you got to stay to the end to get the cool stuff. Okay, so today's big focus is on building a mailing list in what I consider to be a counterintuitive way, but one that really, really works. I'm going to show you how you can grow more and earn more by giving things away. Yes, seriously, it really works. So in fact, it works so well, it's like crazy, and you're going to see how. So now I say counterintuitive because, well, for essentially the first 15 years of my career, this is not the way that I tried to grow my mailing list. And I really just stumbled across this in my basically banging my head against the wall, trying to figure out how to get this to work. And I'm going to explain all of that in my story. All right, so what's coming up in today's workshop? I'm going to tell you why mailing lists make such a huge difference in success and sales, course sales, product sales, affiliate sales, all of it. How my mailing list generated 1 million in Teachable course sales specifically. Well, actually almost 1 million. I can't say it's quite 1 million, but it will be soon, by the end of the summer, I'm sure. And that's in less than 3 years. The secret to how I grew my mailing list to over 800,000 subscribers using the power of freebies, which I alluded to earlier. The 3 freebies that are going to work best to attract true fans for you. So these are fans that will push you and your business forward. And these freebies that are ones that I think work the best, and I'm not going to say exactly A, B, and C. Instead, I'm going to tell you the quality about those freebies that make people go nuts and become lifelong fans of yours. And then with that knowledge, you can evaluate any freebie that you make from this point forward as to whether it's actually going to be good for you or bad for you. And then you are going to be able to determine which ones will actually grow your list and which ones are just giving it all away. Because we don't want to do that, right? We want to give them essentially a sample of how awesome you are so they want more. That's the idea. And my promise to you in today's workshop is that you're going to come away with an understanding of how a mailing list can help you, and you're going to come away with at least one awesome idea for a freebie. That's my goal, because that's what a great freebie does. It attracts people to you, and then they really, really want it, and they sign up to get it, and boom, you are growing a mailing list and growing your business, which is really what our purpose is here. Okay, so now you might be wondering, so Jennifer, what is the big deal about email? Like, mailing lists are so 90s. Isn't it better to put all of my time and attention into like social media, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, yes, even TikTok, Instagram? I mean, that's where it's at now, right? So why are you just going on and on about email? Are you suggesting I become one of those people who like sends spam? Okay, so let's clear that up right away. I am not talking about sending spam to strangers. I'm talking about sending letters to your people. This is a big, big difference that changes everything about email. But the thing is, before you can even send those letters, you need some people to send them to first, right? So here's why I think having an email list is such a big deal. So you can connect anytime when you have a mailing list. It's your list. You can't get kicked off. You know, you can't have Twitter bar you from using your account. I think that happened recently to someone. With a mailing list, you can connect with your people anytime without worrying about getting lucky, getting noticed on Facebook, Pinterest, Google, or have to worry or pay for ads. Okay, big deal, really. Mailing lists let you drive traffic back to your content, your channel, your store, whatever it is that is your primary thing. It really it boosts your traffic and boosts your sales because of that. And number 3, of course, is that you can earn more. And as you grow, the mailing list grows with you, and it's all kind of exponential. So your emails can boost all of your income streams: affiliate revenue, product revenue, advertising revenue, because you're bringing, if you're, let's say, advertising revenue would be appropriate if you have a blog or something, and then you're bringing people back to your blog and your page views go up and you earn more revenue. Everyone's always wondering how I managed to do that one. And this is definitely one of those cases where little success leads to more success, right? And it's sort of a snowball effect. It's kind of magic, in fact. All right, so now I know some of you already know who I am because I invited you here today. Thank you so much for joining me. I did mention that I was a little nervous, and I will admit I'm still a little nervous, but I listened to my 2 favorite videos before we came, which by the way is Uptown Funk and High Hopes by Panic at the Disco. There we go.
Danik at the Pisco. Danik at the Pisco.
Thank you. I can't get it out. So, but some of you already know my story, and but some of you might be hearing about me or meeting me for the first time. Maybe a friend told you about this workshop, and you're really just not sure who the heck I am and why I know anything about mailing lists and fans and growing a business. So I would like to introduce myself. So my name is Jennifer Maker, and I'm the founder of jennifermaker.com, where I teach women how to craft beautiful things. So yes, I am a craft and DIY blogger. I'm now also a YouTube content creator, a best-selling author, and a Teachable course instructor, which is why we're here today, because Teachable very graciously invited me to do this. And I create videos, books, and courses about crafting. That's my primary thing. I started doing this at the end of 2017 as a way to support my family, and it's become wildly successful. But I want to stick to talking about mailing lists. We're not here to talk about crafts because it turns out mailing lists are my superpower. So I began a mailing list in my very first year of blogging. Well, actually, I was a little bit slow about it. 3 months after my blog, is when I started it. But I quickly understood that I had to make it a priority. And rather than like making the money I earned or how many followers I got on Instagram or Facebook or even the page views, I needed to make my mailing list my priority. So I did. And this graph here shows my mailing list first year. So I went from 0, which you can see there in January 2017, and this is like by month. It's not like a total. And the total though is for that first year is 26,000. So I grew my mailing list organically from 0 to 26,000 subscribers in my first year. This was on a brand new blog, guys. I didn't even have a YouTube channel back then. No established social media other than what I started when I began my blog. I didn't get picked up by the media. I didn't get mentioned by someone bigger than me. I had no lucky breaks. I swear I didn't. I wish I had. I also didn't use any paid ads in that first year. This happened 100% organically. I literally just used freebies to attract people to me. And really 26,000 people is pretty awesome, even when I think about it now. Even with everything I know now, that's pretty amazing. So that meant that I was an overnight success, right? Yeah, not. I was not an overnight success. And those of you who may know me may think otherwise, but I really wasn't, because there's more to my story than meets the eye. And I want to share it with you because it really matters to understanding how I was able to grow my mailing list so far, so fast. So let's dial this back a little bit further to 20 years ago. So 20 years ago in, I think 1999, I started a mailing list, and it was from my website, which is my first business. The one I have now is my second business. So I haven't had that many. And it was called Passporter. And back then everybody did mailing lists. So I didn't have to be convinced to do it. And this is what we do, right? We do what seems to work for others. So of course I started a mailing list too. And I grew that mailing list to 50,000 subscribers. But the thing is that it took a really long time. It took 10 years to get to that point. Now, I didn't know that was a long time back then. I was actually really, really proud of that mailing list that I'd worked so hard for, and it took so long to make it. And I remember when I started my blog about a little over 3 years ago, I thought I just didn't really want to go through all that again. 10 years of work just to get to this point when, it was like a brand new shiny world. There was social media. There was all these cool things. Who needed a mailing list, right? That's really, truly what I thought. But obviously I have one. So the question is, why did it take me so long to grow my list? And that's really important and significant, and something I gave a lot of thought to when I started it all again. And I think the reason that it took me so very long to grow that far is because of this. This This is a little embarrassing, so hang in here. So this graphic here, please don't judge me for my 90s era graphic. This is literally the one that I created in 99, maybe 2000. And this is the actual banner that was in my old website in a rotation. So you only saw it like every 20 pages or whatever. Back then you had banners and they were at the top of your page. It's just what you did. So I made this graphic very early on and I never changed it. It was up for like 16, 17, 18 years, somewhere in there, which is really crazy. All this graphic does is to say, hey, subscribe to get my emails. That's all it does, and in a not very appealing way, in fact. And the thing is that this is like a big mistake that pretty much everyone makes in the beginning. They think that saying, hey, do you want my emails is really obvious and it seems intuitive, but it's actually not what you need. It isn't going to, some people will sign up. Some people will, but you're not going to see really major growth. And the growth in your mailing list is really where the magic lies. But in those 20 years of trying so hard, I did stumble upon something that worked better than just saying, hey, would you like to join my mailing list? What I did was I began to offer a free thing. So my former business, Passporter, I was a travel guidebook publisher. I wrote books about Walt Disney World and Disney Cruise Line and Disneyland. And of course, I published them. And I had a website to support them and to answer questions for everybody and everything like that. And I would, every year we updated the book, and one year I got the idea to, I think it was when we started doing ebooks, right? And I got the idea to take a few pages from the book and put them online for people to download. And so this was the sneak peek at the book, and it was like maybe 20 pages or something like that. So I offered this, but because of the system that I put it on, it required that you like have an account first. And so you had to like actually give an email before you could see this. It was not intentional. It was the way it was set up. Because why would I do that to anybody? Why would I make them give me their email? I just want to give it away. But as soon as I did that, people were more than happy because they actually wanted my emails. And this was a great way to do it. And my mailing list grew so much faster when I did this. And I'm like, whoa, this is something really amazing here. I discovered it by accident, but that doesn't matter. All that matters is that I figured it out. All right, so let's fast forward to now, or you know, approximately now, my new blog that I started in October 2017. And I knew I had to do it differently from all that I had learned before. So instead of doing this kind of graphic where I said, hey, do you want to subscribe to me? Instead, I began to do things like this. Get the free design for this project, because remember, I'm a craft blogger, right? And I would do things like this. I would say, enter your email to get instant access to my 30-day craft room organization challenge. And that's not like a file or like a pattern, but it's more like an email challenge where they get delivered. So of course I had to have their email, and that makes perfect sense. And then I did things like this. Are you ready to learn your new Cricut cutting machine? Enroll in my free mini course and you will get it. So this is what happened 3 years into starting my mailing list. Is this where I am today? I think it is. Yes, this is when I took this morning. So I started January 1st, 2017, and today we're at 845,000 email subscribers, which is a lot. But it's also amazing. It's so powerful. It's difficult to really put into words, and I have some graphics in here that will actually illustrate it better for you. Yeah, so in fact, let me just move to that. So that I have it great, awesome, I have a big mailing list. And anyone who has any kind of a mailing list right now knows that that might mean I have a big bill to pay for, you know, my mailing list. And I do, as a matter of fact. However, this is what having a mailing list has done for me. I can now connect with my readers whenever I want. Remember I mentioned that? Here are just a few of the emails when I went like this morning and I looked for a few. I am able to send them genuine letters, that things that are going on with, things that matter to them, not just random stuff. It's very focused about it. And I get back things like this. And it's amazing to feel that I can truly connect with people and they can hear me and I can make a difference in their life. It really is, there really isn't anything better than that. And with a mailing list, I can reach those people whenever I want. So this is a graphic of the last like 30, 60 days of my blog's traffic. And you can see those spikes there. Those spikes are when I send out my newsletter. I send them out once a week. Like, that's really significant. I can reach people whenever I need to. I don't have to wait for Facebook to decide, its algorithm to be like, okay, I like her today and I'm going to show her post to people. I can truly contact people. And the one that I know most people are most interested in is I can earn. So this graphic is one of the most important ones to me. I started my blog. I started doing what I'm doing because I was broke, very, very broke. We were almost destitute, and I was thinking that we were going to have to move out of our home. It was a horrible thing. And so I tried out this blogging thing. And of course, blogging is not a get rich quick overnight thing at all. It takes a lot of work. And at the end of my first year, I finally got up the courage to do a course. It was my first product. And I'd asked my people what they would like me to teach them, and they told me. And so I worked up the courage and I did it. And this is what I got as a result. So my very first course offering earned like just a little over $12,000. And I was over the moon about this. I remember going out into the living room where my daughter and my fiance were hanging out, watching TV or whatever. And I was like literally jumping up and down with joy because I had figured it out. And the thing is that at the time, I had a mailing list, and I only told my mailing list about the course because I was honestly feeling a little nervous about it. So I only told them because I felt like those are the people who really wanted to hear from me and they felt safe to me. And this is the result. And it was 13,000. My mailing list was 13,000 at that point. And this is only 9 months after I started my mailing list. Okay. And so from here, we go to today. And this is the total sales in Teachable. And I'm showing you Teachable because I think all of you know about Teachable. And this is my total sales of course sales. And it's not quite 3 years yet. I think that's a pretty cool thing. But it goes beyond Teachable too. So I sell a variety of craft handbooks and workbooks in an online bookstore that I opened a little less than 2 years ago. And look what the power of email has earned there. Isn't that amazing? This is from email, folks. This is from email, and it's from reaching out and providing what people actually need. I am serving their needs, and nothing more magical than that. But having that ability to reach the people that needed to hear my message is what makes it all happen. All right, so now you're wondering, how the heck did I grow my mailing list, right? All right, so I'm sure you probably figured it out. So I did it by using freebies. So what is a freebie? It is anything with value that you give away for free in exchange for a name and email address, right? Some people might call them by other names. So let's see, yes. Lead magnet, freemium, opt-in bonus, content upgrade, ethical bribe, that's a really funny one, bonus download. There's lots of names for it, but the idea is that you have a thing and it's free, and all you're asking for in exchange is to be on a mailing list, and you will give them as a bonus this freebie. And that's it. And of course they can leave and they can just take your freebie and like not ever hang out with you ever again, but your job through that freebie is to convince them that you are worth hanging out with and they want to stick around. So no matter what you call it, a freebie is simply something that you give away for free in exchange for someone's name and email address. So freemium versus premium. A lot of people get really confused about this. Like, how do I know whether this thing that I have worked so hard on should be free or it should be paid? And there's a lot of worry about just giving it all away. And I see a lot of kind of almost like it's very guarded behavior like this is my thing and I can't just give it away for free. I must charge for it, right? And so, but I'm really, really going to ask you to go out on a limb here and give away something for free. So how do you know which thing should be free and which things should be paid? All right. So I think of a freebie like a cupcake. It's an appealing, bite-sized, and irresistible taste of what you offer for a premium. So like a sample, right? So like if you were a cake baker, right, who made amazing wedding cakes or something, like I know, I'm pretty sure, I feel like I've seen this before, they will give away like various like tastes of their cakes so that you can see, you can sample them. It's basically the same idea here. So there's a lot of different kinds of freebies, and I want to go through all of them so that you have an idea of what the various options are, because there's different freebies that are good for different kinds of businesses, different people, and there's really quite a lot of ways to do that. All right, so the first one, the one that I use the most, is downloadable files. They're popular and easy. You basically pick a topic that your people need help with to provide information or tools to solve their problem. And that is very important. You're solving problems. And remember, I am a craft blogger. I am not solving world hunger or doing anything that's really super important, except to the people who need to know how to do these things. It is important to them. It's important to their mental health. It's important to their well-being. It's important to their ability to give gifts to people, right? It's all relative. So things that you might have as a downloadable file are worksheets and checklists, a toolkit, like a list of tools or resources, or, you know, like if you are someone who bakes, it would be your favorite bakeware, that kind of thing. Shorts, ebooks, or previews of books, like my passporter or sneak peek that I showed you earlier. Reports, so that would be like white report or white, that's the word I'm looking for, you know, like, so like a business will have like a report and they'll like have done a little study or put out a survey and they say, and these are our results. That's really quite valuable. They can also be graphics. So JPEGs, PNGs, and SVGs. And I don't mean just because, hey, I made a cute meme, let's stick it up there and people will download it. I don't mean that at all. I mean things that are relevant. For example, a graphic designer could give out templates to the kind of work that they do as a sample that could be used, of course. You know, the idea is not just to say, this is what I do, but to actually say, hey, try using this. Does it work for you? SVGs is something that I really focus on as a craft blogger because we can use them as patterns. And then there can also be software, things like plugins. And if you are in the software industry, and then videos. You can also use videos as opt-ins, believe it or not, you totally can. All right, so that's the first one and probably the most popular one. I want to give you some examples. So of course, here is my sneak peek from like the year, I don't know, from a long time ago. And it's literally just pages from the book that people might want to buy. So that's really, really easy one to understand. And this one here is one of my very first blog freebies. And I kind of stumbled upon this one too, because back then I wasn't really like focusing on mailing lists, but my daughter had a Minecraft party and I put together all of the party stuff that I had got together and I told people about it and I put it on my blog. And I checked just the other day and that just simple little thing has added 4,500 subscribers to my mailing list, which is pretty amazing actually. All right, so another one is something like a pattern. So it could be a pattern for like what I do, which is to create paper crafts or vinyl crafts. It could be a sewing pattern. It could be a woodworking pattern. It could be, you know, like even adult coloring pages. It could be printable, other things like that. Anything that is a pattern that people can use to replicate something. This here image that you see, this is my very first pattern that I put on my blog when I was like, hey, let's give this a try. And it is, this one pattern has added 44,000 subscribers to my list. And no, this is not my most popular post. Not by a long shot, in fact. All right, and here's another example. social media templates. So this is from my friend Kara, I can't remember how to pronounce her name. She actually has a blog, a website where she teaches people how to create various like graphics of all sorts of things. So she has some social media templates that you can download, and then you fill in with your own information. Then you can use those to promote your blog posts or your content or your products. You can use them for all sorts of things, and they're free, right? Totally free. And it's this, in this case, is definitely like a sample of her work. Here is a goal setting workbook by my friend Emma. And this is a printable, like a planner that a person can print out on their printer, bind it if they want to, and fill it out. This is a really popular one among a lot of people that I know. And it looks like I have one more from my friend at Our Home Made Easy. And this is just a cheat sheet, a one-page cheat sheet on how parents can plan a chalkboard display. It seems like a really simple thing, but when a mom or dad needs to do this and they're not sure what to do, you have the solution to their problem. It's really that simple. All right, next category is challenge. So a challenge is content that's delivered via email or that can teach or inspire change. And I have several challenges actually. My first one was this craft room organization challenge, and it's like how to organize your craft room in 30 days. And they get an email per day and they work through it. It's kind of like a mini course, but it's mostly inspirational, you know, keep it up, you can do it, that sort of thing. And this challenge has added 3,500 people to my, actually that number, it can't be correct. I know, I just saw it. I guess I didn't update it. It's like in the tens of thousands, yeah. Because that's still popular today. The next category is a course or video series. And by the way, I have some free Teachable courses, so that's totally a thing that you can do also, you know, where I'm not charging for them. So, but it doesn't actually have to be like on a platform. It can be something much simpler than that. I have an example. Yes, my Cricut mini course. It's an email course, and it's over the course of 5 days, and each email leads to an unlisted YouTube video. I'm not charging for this, and people can find those videos, and they do all the time. They might actually be listed right now. I'm not sure. And this has added 43,000 subscribers to my mailing list. All right, so the fourth category is a contest or a giveaway. And this is where you're giving a chance to win something that your people want or need. And that's really important. Do not recommend a contest or giveaway for something kind of random that you think a bunch of people will like I'd say an iPhone. Don't do that. Unless you're an iPhone reviewer or you sell phone cases, this is not going to be helpful because you'll just get a whole lot of people who just want an iPhone and don't really care about what you're doing. So I have an example here. Every month I give away a Cricut cutting machine. Anyone who doesn't know what a Cricut is, it is a computer guided cutting machine. So kind of like a mini CNC machine. And I give one away every month. And this is highly relevant to my audience because they can use these to make the crafts on my site. So this really, really ties in with what I do. All right, the next option is access to a private group or event. So something that's valuable and not public, people will join for fear of missing out, and then they'll discover that it's really kind of awesome. And full disclosure, that's totally what's going on here, isn't it? Like, so we're giving a free workshop, and people who are interested in this topic will come. Some people will be like, oh, Jennifer has no idea what she's talking about. But other people will be like, oh my gosh, this is really cool and interesting, and I think that she is onto something. And it's really that simple. Do I have an example of this one? I do. So I have a Facebook group that's almost at 200,000 subscriber, I guess they're subscriber, they're 200,000 members in my Facebook group. And when they ask to join, this is a private group, so you can't see anything that's going on in there unless you are accepted into it. I asked them if they would like to get onto my mailing list to get really cool stuff. I'm really specific and I talk right to their needs. So this is a Cricut group, so I tell them about my free patterns because that's a highly valuable thing in that community. And if they want to get those things, they just need to give me their email address. And then they get an email that says, hey, is this really what you want to do? If so, we'll keep going. If not, be sure to leave, right? just like a double opt-in. It works really well. All right, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 6, I should number these, is a collection or library. So this would be a group of similar items of value, not just junk, but things that matter to people that appeal to your people. So I totally do this one to great advantage. I have a resource library that's filled with 200 or 300 patterns. And once you join my mailing list, you get access to this library, which has all this cool stuff in it. And I don't really like say, hey, join my library. I usually say, hey, do you want this pattern? It's in my library, but the library has become something that people truly value also. Next is to give trials of software or services. I don't have software or services currently. I did used to back with Passporter. Towards the end, I like wrote a whole thing where I put my books online. But if you have a way to allow them to see it for free or parts of it for free in exchange for their email address, that can be really nice. You know, whether it's just they're seeing a part of the content or they're seeing all of it for a certain amount of time. A quiz, a survey, or assessment can be really cool because you take it and it's usually fun or it's educational or it's helpful in some way, but the results get emailed to you. And so of course you need to have your email address there. And of course, by the way, just so that's super clear, we're always disclosing that people are joining a mailing list, and we're always making it very clear that these things are in addition to being on a mailing list. They're like bonuses and perks, and it's really easy to unsubscribe. This is very important to me. The next is to give out a sample. So if you have a physical thing or a virtual thing that lends itself to a sample, this is a great thing to do, especially when it leads directly into the product that you're selling. And finally, a coupon or a deal. I think that we all know this one. I know that I myself have signed up to Joann's.com, which is Joann's is like a craft and fabric store, so many times to get their coupons. They have so many of my email addresses, but it totally works, and they email me a lot and I buy a lot from them. So those are the major types of freebies. There's probably something out there that we haven't covered, but I think I've got most of them in here. Now I want to talk about I actually see some questions. So I'm going to pause just for a second here and answer a couple questions. So Liz says, when you link to the video tutorial, should it be unlisted? That way it's only special for your subscribers. So that's what I did initially. And then after a while, I kind of like let it be public because it was now like it was like a couple years old, and it was easier for people to find who were trying, like they would like find the first one and then like something would happen and they couldn't get to the second one. So I think I let some of them at least be public, but generally speaking, yes. Keeping them unlisted on YouTube or Vimeo, another good option, will allow it to feel like they've actually gotten something that's not just out there floating around. It is important to note, however, that you can't sell. You would want to use Teachable for your courses if you were selling them, because you can't sell something with an unlisted YouTube video. That's against our terms of service. I want that to be clear, but this is free stuff, so we should all be good. And Nadia said, how do you conduct the quiz? There are services out there that do this. I've never done a quiz myself, but I had a friend who did one just a couple weeks ago, and I don't know what service she used, but if you Google it, you will find lots of options. I'm going to take one more question before I go on. Kia says, is this only for Teachable? Will this work for my business even though I'm not teaching anything or have a class to offer for a freebie? It's totally not just for Teachable. I'm just speaking to people on Teachable because I know a lot of you found me that way. But mailing lists extends beyond being online even. It works for brick and mortar stores. Mailing lists work for virtually every business except perhaps one where your people aren't on checking their email, which is not going to be a lot these days. It really isn't. You'd be surprised at how basically everyone's online, but I'm sure there's some exceptions. And it works even for like the little side hustle you got going on, selling this little thing, right? Like, so I'm really used to crafts. So a person selling their crafts absolutely works to to create a list of people who buy from you and are interested in what you have to sell. And then you say, hey, I made this new thing, to all the way up to major corporations. They absolutely have mailing lists. Like really, all businesses should have a mailing list. Whenever I encounter someone who doesn't, they always get the mom look from me. You need a mailing list and you need to be mailing people to it. I cannot emphasize enough. So absolutely, this is very applicable to you. Now, one thing you said was, where was it? It's scrolling up for me. Let's see. Even though I'm not teaching anything or have a class to offer for a freebie. Yeah, that part doesn't matter. As you saw from my examples, I have lots of things that I give away as freebies that have nothing to do with teaching a class. They're a pattern for making a craft, or they're a planner for, like I don't do like life planning, but I have lots of friends who do, who will give out planners for helping you organize your life, or organizing something about it, or your finances, or spreadsheets. There's so many possibilities, it's almost staggering. Usually once you look into it, the problem is not what do I pick? I mean, what could I put, what could be out there for me to do? It's more like, out of all of these options, which one do I pick? Which one is the best? So yeah, this works for, as far as I can think, everybody, right? All right, top 3 freebies. Okay, so these are qualities of freebies that I want you to look for when you decide whether something is right for you. So think about that list. So I'll go back to it for a second. Think about this list and how this would apply to what you're doing or what you want to do. Because I'm sure there's plenty of people who are thinking about doing something. All right, so this list, and then evaluate it against these 3 things. It's valuable information that they can't get any other way, realistically. And that could literally be because you are sharing it. Information from you is always going to be unique. They can't get that any other way. So keep that in mind. It's not as scary as that sounds. Something your reader must have to do effectively. So if you're explaining to them how to, let's say, manage their finances, a spreadsheet is pretty much going to be like really, really important, especially if you are explaining how to do it in a particular way. Right? So this is a thing, in order to like follow this advice that you have, they need this spreadsheet. That's a great example of it. So in my case, specifically, like I have a craft and here's the pattern for it. Now you could attempt to recreate the pattern yourself from scratch by looking at my craft, but it's so much easier to get my pattern. So you see, so this is important for deciding whether, it's a good freebie or not. And then something that makes your people feel included. So this applies particularly to things like groups and events that you're inviting them to, but it can also mean like the collection or library when you allow them in to have access to your awesome stuff. So those are the 3 things I always look at. And I do this constantly when I'm deciding whether this idea I have is going to actually be good or not. All right, so which of these freebies attract the right audience? Because I'm sure some of you are like, okay, well, I could just stick a freebie for one of Jennifer, like a pattern like Jennifer makes, but I have a website about cats. Is that going to help you? Right? That's the big question right there. All right, so the right people are the ones who need your freemium and want your premium. So the freemium is the freebie. The premium is your product that you either have now or will one day develop, right? So everyone starts somewhere. I had no products in the beginning. I just had free stuff. Your goal is to give them what they need and sell them what they want. Always remember that. The wrong people are the ones who need your freemium but do not want your premium. They're just not interested in it. So maybe that person would love to have that pattern, but they have no interest in your ebook about how to take care of your cat, right? So because the 2 just aren't related. They're not related at all. So don't give away something unrelated to what you sell or intend to sell. Always be thinking of that big picture, always. So how do you go from having freebies to actually having fans, people on your mailing list? These are the steps, the exact steps that I use to do it. So step 1, I make a valuable freebie that my readers will love. That's the first thing I do. It's always the first thing I do. And then I pick a way to deliver the freebie that works for that audience. And it's actually different for different parts of my audience. For example, for like a large amount of my audience, they just are going to come to my resource library and download it. Recently, I've been making face mask patterns, and they're not in my library. That's like not their thing. They don't even know about it. So in that case, I deliver it to them through email instead of in my password protected library. And there's other ways to do it as well. It kind of will depend a little bit on what you're using, of course, too. And then I funnel the people that come to my site or my channel or my social media or wherever it is, because it's all across all of them, right to the freebies in the posts and pages. My blog, my YouTube channel, all of my social media is essentially a funnel to collect people. That sounds like really cold. It's not really the way but that's a way of thinking about it. It is a gigantic flower, and I'm attracting all the bees to it. That's a nicer way to say it. They're a way to say, hey, I am out here. I have what you need. Come hang out with me. And I funnel them right to that freebie. That is my priority. My priority is not to get them as a follower or a subscriber on YouTube. If you come watch my YouTube videos, you will note I never say subscribe and like. Not once do I ever say that. Despite that fact, I have, what is it? I think I have 325,000 subscribers in 18 months by never saying subscribe and like. Instead, what I do is say, I have an awesome thing for you. Come get it. That's what I always do. Step 4 is build specific opt-ins for each freebie for the best conversions. Conversions means someone sees it and then actually decides to get it. That's a conversion. So you don't just like stick everything in a library or whatever and say, hey, I got some free stuff in here. That doesn't work so well. Instead, you're like really specific about it and say, here is my my list of my favorite bakeware. Here it is, and you can get it here. You might be in a library or it might be delivered in some other way, but you need to be specific so a person knows that when they that they're actually getting that thing that they want, not some vague nebulous thing that they may or may not be interested in. Step 5 is to share your freebie right away to reel them in. So you don't want them waiting around for it. What I do is I keep most of my things in a library, and so I show the password to the library, which by the way is super low tech, nothing fancy there, no extra software is involved. I show them the password immediately so they can get in right away. They don't have to wait for my email with the password to show up. When people request like a face mask pattern, I send it to them right away in email. I sometimes even give them the link on the landing page, like the thank you page, like thank you for joining my mailing list. I'll make it as easy as I can because people will wander away. They'll get distracted, they'll do other things. So you want to grab their attention immediately and keep them focused on what you have to offer them. Step 6 is to promote your freebie to attract your fans. This is super important. Many people make really, really cool things and they just sit there unseen on their websites, their channels, and their blogs and their stores because they're not promoting them. You must promote the things that you do. There's many different ways of doing that. And I'm referring really to free promotion, not paid, but of course that's always an option. But you have to be out there beating the streets to show people the cool thing you made. And once you have them on your mailing list, you welcome them and you warm them up so they stick around and don't just be like, hey, I got my thing and I'm out of here. You don't want that. You want them to stay with you and get to know you and realize that you're a good person and they can trust you. This is important. Step 8 is to send your love to your mailing list of fans often. So I send at least weekly, usually a lot more than that, actually, usually like 2 or 3 times a week. I send a letter, and I don't mean like a sales letter, like, hey, I made this thing, come buy it. I like almost never do that. In fact, I send them like real letters. I tell them about the things that I made. I ask them questions. I share relevant information to them. And this is part of nurturing your people and developing a true relationship with them. And step 9 is to speak to your fans' needs and keep them on your list. So you're constantly checking to see, Are they getting what they need? Are there other things that they need? For example, the face masks are a great example. Like, I didn't intend to set out to make masks. They asked us to make them, so I make them. I'm working on one today, in fact, like my 4th different pattern, because they keep asking me, so I'm going to serve them. That is what I do. They, in a way, my readers, my viewers, my subscribers, everyone, they're basically my boss. They tell me what to do. All right, so these are the exact steps that I've used to get my explosive list growth. So now you're like, okay, so could those same steps that I used actually work for you? Maybe they only work for like crazy craft bloggers like me, and they won't work for you. And this is something that comes up a lot. And really, a lot of people think this, or they think I got lucky. Hopefully you guys, when you understand that I am not an overnight success and I've been doing this for a long time and failing spectacularly, you will know I didn't just get lucky. This is hard work. And thankfully, I don't have to tell you that it works for other niches and businesses, because I've been teaching people how to make mailing lists since, pretty much after that first course and it sold. And what happened was I went online and I was telling my friends about it, and I was so excited, and they're like, what did you do? And how on earth do you have a mailing list that big when you've only been doing it for 9 months? And that's how I began to talk about this, because I am a crafter, teacher, whatever. I'm not a marketer like by trade, right? This is something I do because I genuinely just love to teach people and share my passion. So it kind of will extend to other things like this. But this method, the list love method that I just explained here, it works for lots of other niches and businesses. So other people have tried it. so we're good there. There's no guessing. And another question I get is, why do I need to follow your steps? So there's a lot of people out there teaching others how to build mailing lists. There's many voices and many different techniques. But I will be honest, I've never known anyone, and I swear I'm not tooting my own horn here. This is like a factual statement. I've never known anyone to grow a mailing list like I have. I really haven't. I'm sure there's someone out there. I haven't met them yet. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that I failed so much before, and I learned from the ashes of that wonderful failure. So I understand this in a way that others do not. I mean, I'm 51, I'll be 52 this year. I have a lot of experience being online and trying to make this work, trying to make the things that I love, basically turn what I love into my life's work, right? So I can and I will teach you how to succeed at this too. That said, I am not for everyone. If you like this workshop and learn something, you can feel confident that I can teach you more. If not, then that's cool too, because I am not everyone's cup of tea and cupcake. That is totally fine. All right, and I saw this question come through in the chat. So how much work is this really? I get a lot of people asking me how much work this takes per week to do this method that I have, or just that it seems like a lot of work. And I got to level with you. I am not going to sugarcoat it. Success is hard work, and persistence is what this is. This is not me like putting in 2 or 3 hours a day and then just coasting. That's not what I do at all. I don't even think I would want to do that, to be perfectly honest. That sounds a little bit boring. This is hard work, but the nice thing is that it's not actually, this part of it, of what I do, is not really like a lot of work, because I'm a big fan of automating tasks, and I teach everyone how to do that too, because I do not, one of my core values is to work smarter, and so I'm always looking for how to do more in less time. So once everything is set up, it's mostly rinse and repeat. So every time I have a new freebie to promote, that's all I do. I just go through my steps to promote it, and it's already set up. So it's actually quite easy. And I'm still the one in our company who makes all of our freebies and promotes them. And I still find time to be on video and teach courses and be our CEO. So it's totally doable. All right, so I know we had limited time together today, and time is running out. It's almost 4 o'clock. Wow, that's pretty good. I did good there. Given the time that we had, did I do a good job today of giving you information Even if you left the workshop right now, could anything that I taught you be used to help you build your mailing list with freebies today? Please let me know in the chat by saying yes or no. This truly
Jennifer,
matters to me.
I can say yes myself. I was just listening in here, and absolutely.
Excellent. Thank you. I'm glad. Good, because you know something? I can't even see the chat. And I'm like, I'm going to have to wait for my team to tell me because I can't see. I wanted to like bring it up, and then I was afraid that I might like crash my computer. So I'm just going to stall and wait for my team. But thank you. I appreciate it. All right. So now let me ask you another question. Would you like more help growing your mailing list, finding your fans, and earning more of everything that you're seeking? Because the truth is that not everyone is seeking the same thing. Some people want money. Some people are looking just to connect and reach people. So there's a lot of different ways. And this works for all of them. Because I made something that I think will really help you learn how to implement these 9 steps to take you from freebies to fans. And it's called, it's called List Love. So List Love is my master course that walks you through all 9 of these steps and so much more. So you've listened to this workshop, you've heard my story, you know that what I'm saying can help you. I hope you do it at this point. So List Love is all the nitty-gritty stuff that you need to put these steps into action. And the List Love Master Course is packed with real techniques and hands-on projects that teach you how to build and nurture a mailing list by making things your people will love. And of course, it's a teachable course, which by the way, I love Teachable. I should have said that in the very beginning. I am like a huge Teachable fan. I tell everyone about it.
And I think there should be a button live above the video right now if you're interested in this course also. So you can also click the link right above the video.
Cool. So just imagine how amazing it would be to create freebies that attract your people to you who love and appreciate your work, because this is what it does. I get so many emails and messages every day that sometimes I really have to be careful not to let it go to my head. Keep my nose to the grindstone. I'm not even kidding you. They are so amazing. Imagine how wonderful it would be to build an audience that you can reach anytime you want. Back in April, we had Facebook decide that one of our groups wasn't cutting it and they throttled us, and we could not figure out why. And it took like a month before we finally figured it out. And it turns out it was like a false news report. That's what it was. Yes. And it was so frustrating, but that whole time we had our mailing list and we could always reach them. And it of course reached them much better. And imagine how exciting it will be when you can monetize your work by leveraging the power of your mailing list. For some people, that is life or death. It is a big deal. So I can guide you through all 9 of these steps, step by step. This is what I do. I do this for crafters. Like basically being a teacher is my life's calling. So it is totally my jam. And my method does totally work. I actually got this message just a little while ago, and Karen gave me permission to include it here, which I'm very thankful for. And I want to read it because it's really, I think it really embodies what List Love is about. So Karen says, in January, I was ready to quit blogging for good. Again, I had not written a post in 6 months because of multiple serious illnesses in my family. In February, I began working on some old posts and republished my most popular one. I had 145 subscribers and around 2,500 page views a month. In March, I designed a simple and easy washable face mask pattern. She's listening to her audience, and put printable instructions in my resource library. In 1 month, my blog went to 350,000 sessions and over 450,000 page views. And I know Karen personally, like she's not my friend, but like she's a student, so totally legit. I applied to and was accepted by Mediavine. Mediavine is an ad network. My Pinterest impressions went from 50,000 to over 50 million, and I now have over 7,200 subscribers. 1 post, 1 freebie. If you are down in the dumps thinking this will never work, please don't give up. I never thought this could happen to me. Your ship will come in. And of course, that was unsolicited. Karen is awesome. All right, so what you get in List Love is access to my field-tested, life-changing course, because this is your mailing list is the gold. It really is. Admission to our active and private Facebook group where you have can talk to me and my team and get like feedback on your freebies and your sequences and answers your questions and whatever we can help you with. Ongoing support from me and my awesome team, many of whom are here today helping me. Exclusive bonus content, including swipe files, checklists, and more. And most importantly, I think the confidence and know-how to turn freebies into fans. All right, so this is the part where we talk about money, right? So what is the investment for this course? So when we like set up the course, I had to pick one. Like I have 3 tiers, as you can see here, a silver tier, a gold tier, and a platinum tier. And I can only have one of these for this workshop. And so I thought really hard about it. And I looked at what people were enrolling in, and by far they were enrolling in my platinum level. So what I decided to do for just this Teachable Discover workshop is offer my platinum level for the exact same price as the starter silver tier. So that means a whole bunch of bonuses that you wouldn't normally get by doing that, because that's what people were getting anyways. So let's just give them that and then knock off a whole bunch of money. So, but it's a course for a limited time, and that's important. So let's talk about what's in it. So there's a 9-unit course that has video lessons, transcripts, and assignments, hands-on assignments where you actually, from the start of the course to the end of it, you actually build it. This isn't like a theory thing. This is, you're actually getting your hands in there and doing it. So by the end, everything is all set up. My welcome sequence swipe file. If you don't know what a swipe file is, it's basically like kind of a copy paste thing, and it's sort of a done for you thing. And it is exactly what I use to welcome my new subscribers in my first year. So, and this is very important for keeping people on your mailing list and creating a relationship with them. And then access to my private group to ask me and my team questions and get feedback from fellow students. It's a great networking opportunity too. And then that was the silver. And then because the platinum is everything that's in silver and everything that's in gold as well. So I'm going through each of the tiers. Just a second, sorry. I need a drink there. Okay, so the gold adds in a bunch of bonuses, specific like techniques that I've used to either grow my mailing list or to monetize it. Because a lot of people get really good at growing it, and they're like, okay, so now how do I make money with it? So I share what I've actually done, like with just the mailing list, not like with necessarily with like with products, because the product part is actually easy. Once you have your mailing list, you just say, hey guys, I made this cool thing that you asked for. But there's other ways that you can do it too. So that's what's in gold, but platinum gets all of that. So they also get a bonus on how to segment and list your forms, your email list with forms and tags. And this is super powerful. This means I can send an email to a part of my list and speak directly to their needs. This is how I get comments like, it's like you read my mind. That's how I do that. And I tell you how to do that in that bonus. And then the other one is how to monetize your list with affiliate programs, so that you can, once you've created this giant list, but maybe you don't quite have a product to sell, you can still be monetizing it so that you're not, have this big list that you're not using. And of course, I still use affiliate programs to monetize. But at this point, my product sales are far and exceed my affiliate revenue. So it's kind of like taking a smaller, as things grow, it becomes less important. But in the beginning, it's very important. And this is a cool one, access to our freebie template library. And I'm going to show you a picture of that. So we have created over 100 templates that you can use for freebies. And I don't mean just to like promote them, but to actually create them. So there's like ebook covers, there's like planners, there's checklists, there's calendars, things like that that you can take and customize to your audience, because it's very important that you do that. Otherwise, they're just being like, whatever. And then you can say, hey, I have this cool thing that meets your needs. So this is part of it. So I'm actually giving you a way to create freebies that work for your people. Now, it's possible that your business is not appropriate, but the thing is that planners work for pretty much everybody. So, and they're in there. And I cannot forget Teachable's really cool guarantee. I actually took the screenshot of this from the page, because Teachable has a 30-day money-back guarantee, which I've always thought was really, really cool. It doesn't come up very often, which is a good thing because it means we're doing our job, but you aren't going to be like stuck with something that you don't like. That's a big deal. Also, this was kind of cool. I saw this on the Teachable Discover, the best price guarantee. So now you're not going to find this course at a better price, but I guess if you ever did, then they would do something with that. That was cool. I'm guessing that's just for Teachable Discover, right?
Oh, I didn't quite hear
The
that.
best price guarantee.
Yes,
I saw that on
exactly.
the page. I thought that was pretty cool.
That's set up through Teachable Discover.
Yeah, that's neat. Okay, so I promised you at the very beginning that I had a freebie for you. So this is where you can find it, jennifermaker.com/freebie-templates. So you are welcome to do that regardless of anything else. You're welcome to those. They're in Canva. Canva can be used for free, and you are welcome to do whatever. You just have to make a copy and you'll be prompted to do that. Canva is a really pretty cool thing. I have no affiliate with them or anything like that. These are totally free and clear.
And I just dropped a link to that into the chat as well.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. So now I want to take questions, right? I guess I should explain the screen first. I totally admit that I am much better at teaching than I am at selling. So bear with me here. Okay. So I have an extra bonus. If you enroll in List Love in the next 30 minutes, my team and I will include 15 bonus promo graphics to help you promote the freebies that you'll be making. So we'll just get like whoever signs up in the next 30 minutes, we'll include them with you in your stuff, right? Promoting the freebies on your website and your blog, your channel, your Instagram, Twitter, social media, whatever, is so important for actually attracting people and getting them onto your mailing list. So these graphics help tremendously. These are done for you templates. All you have to do is put in your topic and a graphic or two. I and my team, Claudia helped me, she's here today. We've done the hard work for you. So they're pretty cool. This is the perfect time to get List Love. And that includes the people from my audience who are listening that I invited you here, because you're not going to see this price again, like, I don't know, probably ever, honestly. This is the time to focus on the right thing, which is your mailing list. Remember, I made my mailing list my priority from really, really early on, and look where it has gotten me today. And if not now, then when, right? This is really a great time to do it. So I see tons of questions and I'm going to answer them. Oh, I forgot to start my little timer. I should do that. Here we go.
Ooh, and Jennifer, I will say that we should probably, do you want to start your camera and stop sharing?
Oh,
your
yes,
screen?
I do. I totally do. Oh,
because we have the thing up
we
have
there,
the CTA
yes,
that's up there. Yep.
Absolutely do that. Hang on just a second. So I'll start my camera first, so it's not plugged. There we go. Awesome. Yes, I would love to answer questions.
All right. So do you have, I know your team was compiling a list, but I've also been marking some down. Do you have some to dive into?
Your questions first or do theirs, whatever you'd like.
Well, there was one question which came up quite a bit, okay. Which was, this is all really interesting, but how do you make people know who you are offering a freebie, or that you're offering one in the first place, when you're just starting out and you don't have a website yet, you don't have a blog yet, you don't have a YouTube, a mailing list, you don't have a social network? How do you get your freebie in front of people? Is this a chicken and the egg kind of thing? How do you answer people who come up with this question?
You need to have a mailing list, because otherwise there's no point to having the freebie. So that is important to have. You can have there are services that offer free ones, so it's not a monetary thing so you can start that. You can actually start that mailing list without ever having a blog or YouTube. There are people who keep all of their freebies in their ESP, which is email marketing system. That's what it stands for. Whatever, I probably said that wrong, but because they will host the files for you, and people can actually just come to like the landing page or just to the whatever. Everyone is a little different, and get your freebie and join your mailing list, and you can email them without having anything. Actually, this is not uncommon. I don't do this. It feels a little bit weird because I'm so used to having like a place online, but you absolutely can do this. So you need to have the mailing list. But the question I'm hearing is, how do you, when you don't know anybody, you have no connections, you don't have a platform yet, right? How do you get people to actually see what your thing is? So there's a couple different ways. The two ways that I used were Facebook groups. So I would go to Facebook groups for where my person was hanging out. by that, I mean the kind of person who I wanted to attract and would be interested in what I had to give. And with permission from the group admin, for example, I give permission to do this in my group, I would share these free things that I made because they're free. And generally speaking, most people don't feel threatened by them, but you're not selling a product or anything. You're sharing something genuinely free. And I did that a lot. I didn't have a platform. I didn't have any people. So I found Facebook groups. And the other thing that I did was I used Pinterest. So I did have a blog, so I would make blog posts and then I would put the graphic onto Pinterest. But I think there might be some ways that you could still use Pinterest with that landing page to get people right to that landing page in your mailing list software and then to promote it. So that literally they would go from Pinterest to your offer and then onto your mailing list. And you can certainly use services like landing page services like Lead Pages. They do that, and it's not a blog or anything like that. So you can totally do this.
Thanks so much. That was a great one. Do you want to dive into some of your list of questions you've compiled?
Yes, and I'm going to start from the top because I'm afraid I will do that. Okay, so Jeremy says, what percentage of your mailing list becomes a paying customer? So there's actually industry standards for this, and I fall right within them. So typically, whenever I offer a product, so it is 1 to 2% of my mailing list will convert, and it absolutely works. I don't know how people. I guess people steal a lot of data. So that means the bigger your mailing list is, the more people convert to paying subscribers. It has not changed as my mailing list has grown bigger, which is really awesome. That means I'm doing my job right. So, and I always use that formula whenever I'm thinking about, I have a new product. I don't actually have a lot of products, guys. So, but when I do, I have one right now. I know that if I do a good job of introducing that product to my mailing list, which can be done in many different ways, but a simple email talking about it with passion usually is really cool. 1 to 2% of those people will say, hey, that's the thing for me. That said, I do a lot of extra things to encourage sales as we go down there. So they might not be interested at first, but a couple weeks later, I might offer it again in the emails. I might put it as a PS. I might have a flash sale. So I can't say exactly how many people have become subscribers, but I do know that on one of my graphics, and I just saw it, it said that I had like 150,000 orders. So, and I have 850,000 people on my mailing list. So that's more than 1 to 2%. So over time, I actually far exceed that industry standard. Let's see. Tracy says, is there a class to learn how to start a blog? I have a free class, as a matter of fact, because people ask me this all the time. If you go to, I don't think I have a good link for it, but if you go to jennifermaker.com and in the red bar at the top, it says like how to blog, go there. And there's like a thing that says, hey, do you want to be in my free blogging course? So Wendy says, I actually answered this one. Nope, it's different. What is a good conversion rate from opt-ins on my blog? So I think anything around like 7 to 10% is excellent, right? And that's for a specific opt-in on a directed post. If you are talking about like general people that come to visit your blog from like wherever, and how many of them get onto your mailing list is actually much lower than that. And it will depend on how, like the people who say, hey, join my mailing list, and that's it. That number is a lot lower, like more like around 1 to 2% in that range. But it does, it varies a little bit. But your goal is to get at least 10% on your visits from your blog post or your landing page or whatever, your YouTube video, to convert to your mailing list. And if you're not getting that, you keep tweaking your offer and your wording and your graphics until you do. And that's really all there is to that. Melissa says, do you think it's harder to do this for really, really serious subjects that require credibility when you're dealing with money? Do freebies take much more serious thought and strategy when you have a blog based on people's money? I have a really good friend who is in the personal finance niche. I actually have a few friends, but one in particular, her name is Rosemary Groner. Her website is thebusybudgeter.com. I think that's it. My team can correct me if I'm wrong. There might not be a the in there. Yeah, she totally uses freebies.
She's great. She uses Teachable as well.
She absolutely does. I have tons of friends who do. So Rosemary uses freebies, absolutely, and she kills it. She's totally crushing it. So yes, money is a very serious topic, and I see people doing it all the time with money, all the time. So yes, I don't think it's harder to do. In fact, I think that when it comes to money, that's a really, really serious need that people have. Needing to budget or pay your bills is much more compelling than making a cute craft, right? So in some ways you have it a little bit easier because you can offer a really solid solution to a really difficult problem for those people versus me, who's got, like, it's like a little craft, right? And the need is not quite the same. So a lot of people will like look at my situation and want to compare, well, it must be working for her because of A, B, and C. And it really isn't like that at all. It's very tempting to do, but it isn't the same. It isn't like that. Sylvie says, how often do you change your freebie? Sylvie, I just keep making freebies. I don't change them. They're always there, always available, always working to bring me new people. The ones that I made 3 years ago when I first started are still bringing me people today. I'm sure that as we were doing this workshop, there were people signing up to get that freebie. So what I do is I look at the freebies that work for me and I make more like it. I just keep making freebies and they keep working for me, and they're just out there doing all the heavy lifting for me. So at this point I have a lot and I don't ever change them because they have their own little funnel going right to them, and they're on Pinterest or Facebook, or people are sharing them or whatever. So yeah, a lot of people are kind of surprised when they hear that, and I think that's part of the magic here is that you don't make one freebie. You can do that if it's a killer freebie, but the pressure to find that one killer freebie is tough. I don't recommend it. I think that it's something you have to kind of you have to kind of stumble upon as you move down the road and you see what people are responding to. All right. Liz says, what if your business is not about teaching or patterns? I have an online store where I sell things I make or personalize. Yes, so a lot of people ask me about this all the time because they just look at me and say, well, I don't do what you do. So if you're making things that have an online store where you sell things that you make or personalize. So what I see people do when they have things like that is they show how you do it, which is really scary to people when I say that. You get on YouTube and you show how you do it because people are mesmerized and compelled by this, but 99% of them want to watch and not make it. And instead, they will ask to buy it from you. I can't tell you, I don't sell any of my crafts at all. I won't do it. It's not for me. But I get so many requests all the time, people asking me if they can just buy the thing that I made. So this is what I do. I see people do this all the time, and it works really, really well. It's really good for building a mailing list and finding customers. You just got to be willing to, you don't have to do YouTube. You could do a blog post instead. There's even other ways of doing it, but you have to do that and not be afraid that it's giving away the farm, because it isn't. Knowing how to make something is very different than having the physical product. They're almost two different things for people. If you've ever been on Facebook and just found yourself staring at a video of someone making a thing, this is what I'm talking about, right? They're just kind of compelled to watch you make it. Marcia says, are you using lead pages? Is there a way to do it without subscribing to lead pages? Yeah, I didn't use lead pages until I started my first course with Teachable, because I wanted to have a cool sales page and wanted to be like professional about it. Up until then, I had no lead pages. I used ConvertKit as my mailing list platform, and they have landing pages built into it. A lot of them do. And I was just using their vanilla opt-in boxes. So you don't need the fancy stuff to do this, because I didn't have it. Penny asks if I use the email service. Yes. Like I said, I use ConvertKit. I know people who use MailerLite, Flowdesk, ActiveCampaign, Drip, MailChimp, pretty much all of them. And all work for ListLove too, by the way. You don't have to use ConvertKit. What about the manpower to maintain and develop all these items? Which one do you start with? That was from Carol. So Carol, I now have an awesome team, but I didn't used to. For the first 2 years of my blog, it was just me. And I by that point, my mailing list was at, I think, 150,000. So I can say definitively that this can be done by yourself. You don't need to have a team. You will need, it does require work, but by making your mailing list your priority, that's like the gold, right? So that's always what I did. I didn't like to be, oh, I'm going to write a blog post about, I don't know, building a garden or whatever, because I want to build the garden. I never did that. I always like looked to my people, or the people I wanted to become my people, to see what they needed and wanted. And then I would make something for them. I would make the freebie first, and then I would make a blog post or a video that essentially promoted it. It still talked about it authentically. I didn't just say, hey, get my freebie and that's it. I never said that. It's actually usually a tutorial. And did you, oh, I thought I saw your hand, thought you had a question. And so I make the freebie first, and then I just sent people to it. And I just do it over and over and over and over. By making the freebie your priority, that's how you, and it's like a different way of thinking about it. But once you get into the rhythm of that, it isn't a big deal. Because I have like 300 of them now, and I've made them. My team is working up to making them, but we're not quite there yet. We're getting really close to like me being able to pass this off, but it's still me.
Jennifer, you want to take one or two more questions before you think
Yes.
we rush to wrap this up?
Yes. Let's see. Which should I take? There's so many questions. Okay, guys, if you're not getting your question answered, I'm happy to answer questions. You can email us, or you can come to our Facebook group. Is that okay?
Oh, and I just do want to shout out, there's someone in the chat also named Jennifer who just purchased the course. So thank you. Thanks, Jennifer.
Yay, cool. All right. Amber says, is once a month too little to email your subscribers? Yes, I think it is. I like to do it at least once a week, because people just don't have that long of a memory. You have to keep your name in front of them. Let's see, I answered that question. Monica says, how is this course different from the List Love Quick Start or the List Love Intro? List Love Intro is a freebie that leads into this course, because this is what we do for everything, right? List Love Quick Start is only the first 3 steps. So it's just the first 3 steps. So it's kind of like a mini course. It's not the full 9 steps and all the bonuses. Megan says, will the course point me in the direction of setting up a proper opt-in? Yes, that's actually what you do. By the time you're done with it, it's all set up. You have at least one, hopefully more, freebies set up and working for you, and all of your email sequences are in place, and your email machine is going. So like I said, this is not a theory course. This is a hands-on course. All right, that was 3 questions.
Right. That's awesome. And I think what we should end with, I think that if everyone in the chat could just thank Melissa, sorry, not thank Melissa, I was reading one of the questions in here. Thank Jennifer for her time. She's been so generous with her time, generous with, literally with the freebies that she's given away, and also generous with all the info that she shares in the course, which you can get by just clicking the link right above this video, or if you're watching this on the replay, and yes, there will be a replay. If you're watching this on the replay, there will be a link in the email to purchase. So if we could just all say thank you to Jennifer. And Jennifer, I don't know if you're looking at the chat now, but there's lots of love in here from everyone saying thank you so much. And that goes to everyone from Team Teachable as well. So thank you so much for joining us and for sharing your course and for helping everyone learn from you.
Awesome. Thank you, Cameron.